Just weeks after her massive defeat in the presidential race, Kamala Harris has her eyes set on becoming the next governor of California in 2026. But coming up, I'll explain why her campaign for governor in California may have crashed and burned even before it got off the ground. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative representing District 75 in the state assembly. The topic we want to talk about today is this presumptive campaign. That's the best way for me to describe it. The presumptive campaign that Kamala Harris is putting together to run for governor of California. All the political insiders on the Democrat side across the country are all talking about that's her natural next move. They don't think that she has the ability to become president or the nominee in 2028 because she did so poorly on the national stage. But she's ambitious, not very competent, but very ambitious. And she thinks, well, I'll settle for becoming the governor of California in 2026 since my good friend Gavin Newsom, who tried to stab her in the back to become the nominee in 2024. Oh, yeah, we all knew that was happening. Since he's termed out of office, then I will just simply inherit the office. You know, that's how they talk. That's how they think, that everything is anointed and to be handed to them. And I can't really blame her. I mean, take a look at how she was anointed and handed the nomination on the Democratic side for president without a single vote even being cast. That's how the corrupt system of politics works on the left. But she's talking about running for governor. She's putting together a campaign, but things seem to be falling apart even before she makes the official announcement. Now, who's currently running? Let's start there. Who's currently running for governor in California? And this will tell you why she thinks she can walk right into the race. Currently, there are a number of low-tier candidates on the Democrat side running for governor. And as of yet, no Republican candidate, although we do have a few names floating around, running for governor on the Republican side. Who's running on the Democrat side? Former state senator Toni Atkins from San Diego. She was also the state Senate leader. She was the assembly speaker. So in insider Democrat political circles, she's got a lot of support, a lot of friends, a lot of favors that she can call in. Second, the lieutenant governor, Eleni Kounalakis, she's the daughter of a billionaire, so she's got money. No one really knows who the hell she is. She's not terribly competent either. Also, superintendent of public schools, Tony Thurmond. You know, he's done such a great job with our schools, right? Yeah? No, not at all. He's running. Betty Yee, the state treasurer, and then Antonio Villagrosa, the former mayor of Los Angeles. Of all those candidates, I would probably say that Villagrosa has the most name ID and cachet, but none of them are polling outside of single digits. He's the high single digits. The rest are low single digits. There's no clear front runner. That's why Kamala Harris is looking at the field saying, well, of course, I can just announce and they're just going to have to stand to the side. And that's actually a legitimate analysis. If she announces, they would really have to stand to the side. But there's a dark horse. A name that Harris was not expecting, and a name that actually could wrestle the nomination from Harris, particularly with the passage of time. And that is former Congresswoman Katie Porter. Remember Katie Porter in Orange County? She won a purple district and represented that for a few cycles. She fashions herself as this populist rebel, a rabble rouser, anti-establishment, but don't buy the act. She polls pretty well up against the existing field that I just mentioned, of the no-namers. She just ran for U.S. Senate, so she has some level of residual name ID from that multi-million-dollar campaign. And she has shown herself to be a very capable fundraiser. So Kamala Harris thought she was walking into a coronation on the Democrat side. Now she's seeing that Katie Porter is making all of the rumblings, all the moves of being a legitimate, serious, decided candidate for governor. So the first thing that has caused a hiccup, a bump in the road for Kamala Harris, the fact that Katie Porter seems to be seriously poised to enter the race. And I would say that Kamala Harris would not be the presumed nominee at that point. Now, there are these polls out there that show that if Harris jumped in the race right now and that Katie Porter was not in the race, that Harris would probably clear the field and she'd get like 35% of the Democrat vote, of the entire vote of the primary. Because remember, we have an open primary. Everyone runs on the same ticket. But with Porter in the race, all bets are off. The second thing that seems to be interesting is that she's getting the kiss of death. And that is, well, she got the backing this week of Joe Biden. Listen to what he seems to have said. Now, he doesn't say running for governor in particular, but he seems to be kind of saying, oh, she's got a bright future. She's going to be still part of the game. Listen in.
That's the road ahead. To never give up. To keep the faith. To know that what we're doing matters. I know I'm going to stay engaged. I know Kamala and Jill and Doug are going to do well as well. And I know you will. We need you badly. The country needs you badly. And you're not going anywhere, kid, because we're not going to let you go.
You're not going to go anywhere, kid. We're just not going to let you go. I think he's, on one level, accurate. You're not going to go anywhere. Also, Kevin McCarthy, the former House Speaker, he's former member of Congress from California. He knows a lot about California politics. He says that Harris would not win the California governor's race. And so that's an interview he gave to Fox News this week on America's Newsroom. And he says, quote, if she came back to California, she would not win the race for governor. So, she's got to rethink. Now, a lot of Republicans seized on this to say, if Harris runs for governor and she's the Democrat nominee, a Republican would win. No. I don't think that McCarthy is suggesting that. I think that if Harris were the nominee for the Democrats, that Republicans would absolutely have a shot because she's that bad of a candidate. And I still think that Republicans have a shot, probably the best shot they've had since Meg Whitman, really. And I'm not giving praise to Meg Whitman. I'm just saying since Meg Whitman, the best shot to win, just because the state is so poorly managed. It's in such a shambles with Democrat supermajority control. But no, he's not, at least I don't think, suggesting that it would be a cakewalk for a Republican. I think he's suggesting what I'm suggesting about Katie Porter. He knows the same dialogue, the rumor mill that I'm hearing about Katie Porter, and that is the longer there is the passage of time. And you know how Kamala Harris loves to talk about the passage of time. It's one of her word salad nonsense speeches she gave previously. But with the passage of time, a candidate like Katie Porter would probably best her in a primary, which is why I think McCarthy is saying she wouldn't win. But more to the point, if Harris were the nominee, I actually think she would be the weakest Democrat nominee of the entire bunch. You might wonder who is actually running on the Republican side. Well, we've heard Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco might be interested, but I'm also hearing he might not be interested. There is my good friend Steve Hilton, Fox News commentator. He is definitely interested. Not speaking out of turn. He's talked about it publicly. I've had discussions with him. There are other Republicans, business members, businessmen, businesswomen thinking about running. There's other candidates I think should consider running. My hope, though, is that we get one candidate to run to make sure that we make the runoff. I want to get one candidate to run in each of these seats. Now, there is this theory that because there are so many Democrats running, Tony Atkins, Tony Thurmond, Betty Yee, Antonio Villaraigosa, Eleni Kounalakis. Then you might have, Democrat Rick Caruso. You might have Rob Bonta. You might have Katie Porter, as I mentioned, or Kamala Harris. What are we up to? Almost 9. That they could chop up the vote so much on the Democrat side. It's possible. I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think that some of these candidates will ultimately drop out and maybe switch to another statewide race. I could see Tony Atkins switching over to lieutenant governor. I could see Antonio Villaraigosa switching to any number of positions just to keep himself out there, or just dropping out altogether to avoid the embarrassment. So the idea that maybe they would split the vote and a Republican or two Republicans at that point would then both make the runoff with like 15% of the vote each, or 20% of the vote. That's a stretch. Is it possible? Yes. But our goal on our side, while they sort out the drama and the mess, is to, again, field the best, most principled conservative candidates for statewide office in California so that we can present an alternative. I do believe it's a winnable race. It's a tough race, but I think we ought to put the best one candidate up, unite in the primary so that they don't have to waste money in the primary, and that we can go right to the general. Let the Democrats duke it out in the primary to slug each other mercilessly to see who gets to crawl out of the primary pit and make it into the general election in 2026. By the way, another indicator that Harris doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of support is her own campaign team has abandoned her. Gavin Newsom announced that he is going to have a new chief of staff, and it seems to question whether Harris can even keep her political staff on board for her campaign in order to mount a serious run. Quote, California Governor Gavin Newsom has hired a top advisor of Vice President Kamala Harris to be his next chief of staff, Nathan Barankin, joining the governor's team to replace his outgoing chief of staff, Dana Williamson. Barankin was senior advisor for Harris's 2020 presidential campaign, was her chief of staff in the Senate, also chief of staff while she was attorney general, and has been an ongoing advisor to Harris and the most capable California-specific political operative. So if she were running for governor, she's going to need this guy. And so his decision to join Newsom to sit this cycle out, very telling that even her inner circle seems to be moving on, while all my other sources tell me the only job she's even eyeing, California governor. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch, very fun to watch. Again, what I want us to do is focus on what happens on the Republican side. Let's get our act together. Let's get great candidates that we can unite behind. Let's offer a bold and audacious agenda of reform to fix the problems facing our state. Let the Democrats fight amongst themselves. But I do believe that we have a winnable opportunity, statewide office, yes, even governor, in the 2026 election. To get ready for that fight, we need your help. Chip in a contribution at reformcalifornia.org. That's reformcalifornia.org. Also, if you're not yet signed up as part of our campaign support list to keep up to speed on all the things that we're doing, go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, put in your first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code so that we can continue to keep you up to speed on all the things you can do in your area to join the fight to take back our state from the far left insanity that grips Sacramento. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.